All right, joining us right now, Mary Frances Provost, who's a defense attorney representing one of the Anthony Arevalos victims. And in fact, you've already settled that case for quite a large amount. So kind of recap that for me.
Well, my client was the very first person to come forward, and without her, I don't think any of this would have broken. In December, we settled it for $795,000, and he had taken her after a DUI stop underneath a bridge, and he had sexually assaulted her in the backseat of the car after he had tied a bag around her head. But it took years for us to settle, and after our case got filed, a lot of other victims came forward.
And a lot of folks came forward, and those are working their way through the system at this point. You, I guess, tweeted immediately yesterday when you started hearing that Chief Lansdowne was stepping down.
Yes.
You're one of those that you think he should step down, it sounds like.
I have thought he should have stepped down years ago. I've had clients who have filed reports to the police department about misconduct, clear misconduct. Nothing was done. Nothing was done to a lot of officers along the way. Now we have Chris Hayes, who, there are allegations that 6 or 7 women are claiming that he sexually assaulted them. And now another case just came forward. Women in the department have been sexually harassed, and nothing's been done about it. And it's all coming to a culmination now, so it's time to go.
Now, me being familiar with law enforcement, and in the interest of disclosure,
Sure.
I am still an officer with a local department here in San Diego. So just to be clear about that.
Sure.
But in trying to be objective, lots of times things are going on behind the scenes that the public is not aware of in terms of investigation, disciplinary action, and so forth. Is that a possibility in your mind, that some of these things were investigated, but because you're not on the inside of the department, you're unaware of how those were resolved?
I'm more aware than most people because I've been in it with the discovery in my case. 2 problems. Lansdowne got rid of the PSU unit, which was the internal affairs of internal affairs that went after cops inside and got rid of dirty cops, okay? Number 2.
Now, when he got rid of that, though, let's be clear, the department was going through tremendous budgetary pressures, and he was getting rid of a lot of things, including the mounted unit and things that were personal favorites of his that he had to get rid of for budget reasons. So, I mean, do you think that he got rid of that unit so there would be less scrutiny, or just because it was a budget issue?
I don't know. But if you're going to take off mounted police versus the internal affairs of internal affairs...
No, they both went.
Well, then they should not have. And after a number of years, he should have put them back in. Here's the other problem. Internal Affairs did nothing. And we know because the private outside organization that was investigating police officers was threatened by Internal Affairs officers, and that news broke, and it was terrible, and they had to take out police officers who were in there threatening people who would otherwise sanction the police. That was under Lansdowne. So the outside people who were investigating officers were threatened.
Well, so what needs to happen now? And Chief Lansdowne, we had a guest on earlier that pointed out, if Chief Lansdowne was not transparent and bringing prosecution forward on these cases now, we might never have heard about these cases. So if anything, a case could be made that the chief has actually done his job at this point. So what do you think needs to happen going forward? No matter where you fall on Chief Lansdowne, he's leaving.
Sure.
So now what happens?
I think they need to bring somebody in from outside to clean it up. Bringing somebody in from the inside is just going to be business as usual. And Chief Lansdowne was under the gun in San Jose when he came down here. There was a lot of problems. They need to bring somebody in who doesn't have a history, who's not under the gun. They need someone clean.
The chief has asked for this audit. And to be clear about this audit, I don't know if folks realize that this isn't just an audit of officer misconduct. This is a top-to-bottom audit that they want of the entire department and how the entire department conducts all kinds of business. So is that a good start then? Would you be happy to see this audit take place?
No, they're going to get that in the Jane Doe case that's going to trial in May. They're asking for an independent oversight already. So the fact that Chief Lansdowne is now asking for it a couple of years after one of the victims is asking for it, nothing.
That doesn't do anything for you? Okay, so then where do you go to find a new leader for the department?
That's not within my purview. I don't know. They could do a nationwide search. I'm sure there are plenty of really good police chiefs that would love to come into sunny San Diego.
All right. Marianne Provost, again, defense attorney representing one of the Anthony Arevalos victims, and obviously looking for some change here in the department. All right. Thanks for coming in and sharing with us.